The three-night feast, well, Trinochtion, the three-night feast of Simonios, is that watershed moment in the Celtic calendar where the great wheel fulfills its round and the year ends and a new one begins, and all life itself gets reborn. There's an ancient Celtic inscription on that event, which has been found during archaeological excavations. And the text of this inscription you hear in this track, Trinochtion, but it's also marked the very intro of our album Slania. Back then it was our former fiddle player, Mary Tadic, who did that narration, and so it's a really great pleasure to have her on board again, featuring as guest narration artist in this very track, speaking these ancient words one more time.
Will you remember me? Still know my name when I'm set free.
Threefold Death is probably my favorite song out of the whole album. I cannot decide between this and Worship. Together with the lyrics, it creates a piercing vision of a dying man and his perimortem struggles.
The so-called Threefold Death sometimes appears in Celtic mythology. Today we do not know too much about this concept, yet it seems to be rather obvious that it expresses an eminently potent kind of death, you know, almost like the pursuit of a holistic annihilation. The song deals with that concept of the threefold death, but again also contemplates the question of its remains and legacies.
It's full of contrasts. A beautiful, delicate melody sung by Fabienne is put together with a brutal blast that makes my hair curl. The verse is almost psychedelic, but then it's relieved by a groovy guitar riff.
Threefold Death is one of the more special songs, I would say, on the record. I think it's my secret favorite. We didn't have a chorus when we entered the studio for that one, and I remember coming up with something and then Pretty coming in and adding his part, and then Tommy Petrele adding his part. So that was a really cool way to write that chorus. And of course that song's got the gent part, or gent-ish part for Eluveitie standards, which I'm really curious about people's reactions on that one. That was also really spontaneous, and yeah, I think this song is very diverse, and I really like it.
Writing girly parts for this song was quite challenging, but I enjoyed it a lot.
It's a dark but very emotional and beautiful song, solemn and majestic.
This song is one of my favorite ones on the album. I especially like the yodel part in the chorus. It is in the background and it gives the whole song a traditional vibe.
It's also a favorite of mine. I really like the groove that song has, and we actually ended up keeping the guitar solo from the pre-production. After trying countless other variations in the studio, we just ended up keeping the very first, very spontaneous take on that one.
Due to the key of the song, I had to transpose the folk tunes for the violin. That's basically no problem at all, but it would have meant that the fingering and the shifts changed massively, and the use of open strings would not have been possible anymore. But to keep that folky, flowing, raw character of traditional Irish tunes, playing with open strings and respecting bowing is very important. So I recorded this song with my carbon violin, on which I use a lower tuning. I do this in quite a few of our songs. That's, by the way, also the reason why I sometimes changing the violin during our live shows.
In fall 2017, it happened that we got to know a wonderfully gifted film scriptwriter, and we somehow became friends. We learned about his current project and have been asked to contribute a song for the movie soundtrack, and we were stunned since the storyline of the movie perfectly fell into the whole conceptual idea of Ategnatos. Long story short, Breathe is based on a cinema movie that is yet to be finished and released, and it tells about the often strugglesome relationship of our modern manifest world and the Celtic otherworld. The cauldron of Rebirth is one of the most spellbinding symbols in Celtic mythology. The song pours over that mythic image from the viewpoint of our modern everyday lives. For once more, we cannot see how this ancient archetype could have lost any of its significance, weight and truth. So Rebirth describes dying in one of these deaths that we die during our lives, understanding death as a process, a voyage where death at some point arises on the horizon and even becomes the awaited destination. Like Ambiramus and, well, the Imrama tales in general, it reflects on what will follow death and on its effect on our reborn selves.
Well, Rebirth, as you all know, was the first single for Ategnatos, and we've been playing it for maybe 1.5 years now. It's, for obvious reasons, it's still a challenge to play it every time. We changed some bits here and there for the new version on the album now, and there's a story about the guitar solo, because as you'll hear, it's a new guitar solo on the record. And while we were in Sweden at Jens Bokern's Fascination Street Studios, he came up to me and said, "Yeah, you're the guy who recorded the guitar solo, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he was like, "Yeah, there's some parts here and there I think you could do better." And I was like, "Okay." So yeah, that's why I prepared some new parts for the solo, and that's what you will hear.
And the song is leading into the album outro, which is actually the Rebirth chorus melody sung in its traditional way.
The album's outro is nothing but a heartfelt and emotional carrying on and completion of what was celebrated in Rebirth and the complete album.
And it was just the right moment to record it. It was after midnight and I felt very connected and inspired. So I think, yeah, it turned out well.
It did.
I surrender all to thee, and I see nothing less when nothing is left. Oh, if I fathom last night, I give myself